Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the Suburban Rifleman. I have had an idea rattling around in my head since just after Christmas. It was the week between Christmas and New Year's. I went down to Virginia to spend some time with family, and we were talking about guns and new guns, and I started thinking about this carbine because I had seen some other videos and I'd read some articles. It's been out for about 3 years now, although it's actually a revival of a carbine that I was aware of back in the 1990s. And of course, I'm talking about the Ruger PC Carbine. This one is specifically the PC9. This is in 9mm. There's another version of this in 40 Smith & Wesson, which my dad seems to be interested in for some reason. He's a 40 Smith & Wesson fan. Actually, I like the 40 Smith & Wesson. It's just I have a lot of 9mm ammo, and this seems like a gun you want to be cheap to shoot. So, and it is that. It's essentially a scaled up Ruger 1022 and chambered in 9mm. It takes proprietary Ruger magazines. Well, they're not actually proprietary to the carbine. I think it'll take SR9 magazines and Security 9 magazines. It comes with a magazine well installed in it for Ruger magazines, and I have not changed it from its factory configuration. But as I'm sure most of you already know, it also comes with an additional mag well that will allow you to use Glock magazines, and that's probably the one I'm going to end up using for the most part, because I have a bunch of Glock magazines. I have one Ruger magazine, but I really wanted to test this rifle for the first time with a Ruger mag. So I've been thinking about this carbine for a while. I wasn't really quite ready to buy it, but then the Imperfect Outdoorsman earlier this week posted a video of his very cool new little Ruger carbine, a 1022, a distributor exclusive with a really cool stock, really nice lines, and it has some interesting laser engraving on the side of the stock, and I got very jealous. And that very night I drove up to Cabela's, which I don't really like giving business to Cabela's nowadays. I don't really like what Bass Pro did to the original Cabela's, but the fact is money, and the cheapest I could find this rifle locally was at Cabela's. I probably could have bought it online cheaper somewhere and had it shipped and then go and get it transferred and all that nonsense. But I just wanted to get the carbine. I had an itch and I wanted to scratch it, and here it is. So you might notice it's much quieter here than it normally is in my videos. Last couple of videos I've shot were on the weekend, and it was really, really loud. Lots and lots of people shooting, but I took a couple of vacation hours this morning. It's Friday morning, and it's nice and peaceful here. So I have not shot this carbine at all yet. I'm going to take some shots at paper to get it sighted in, and then we're going to go ahead and shoot the standard protocol. We're going to start shooting at steel, starting at 120, moving out to 173 or whatever that is, and then moving out to 240 maybe, who knows. I mean, I don't know if the 9mm is going to be capable of it. Most of the videos you'll see on this carbine, guys are running and gunning, diving behind stacks of shipping pallets, shooting around corners, knocking down plate racks, bing, 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 and that's all very fun. I don't have a plate rack here, but maybe we'll try that in the future. But in the tradition, or the growing tradition of the Suburban Rifleman, we're going to accuracy test this thing. So I'm going to get started. I did mount a scope on this. This scope's maybe not the most appropriate optic for this little carbine. It'll probably end up with some sort of small electronic sight on it eventually. I am fascinated by all the things that most people love about this carbine, which have already been covered over and over and over again, so I'm not really going to go into them in any depth. There's interchangeability of magazines. There's the takedown feature. It's just like a Ruger 1022 takedown. But the thing that really fascinated me about this carbine, and the reason we're out here today to try to test its accuracy at long range, is the fact that the Ruger PC Carbine, like the Ruger American rifle, for instance, also features a cold hammer forged barrel. And that may not mean much to some people, but I'm getting up there in age, and I can remember a time when cold hammer forged barrels were strictly the purview of high-end European sniper rifles from places like Austria and Germany, and you know, that was the ultimate and the utmost in precision barrels, and it seems like a bit of overkill for a 9mm, but as we all know, I like shooting at long range, and I'm interested to see what this thing can do. So I've probably rattled on long enough. Let's go ahead and shoot this thing. I have here a selection of 9mm ammo. I just grabbed a few partial boxes. Everything I have here, and you'll probably notice from looking at the boxes, all this stuff's pretty old. Everything I have here is pretty nondescript. This is all standard velocity, full metal jacket. I've got some of these old yellow box UMCs from Remington. I've got some Spear Lawmans, also pretty generic full metal jackets. And I've got some hand loads that were assembled by my dad. And these probably are very close to these, also full metal jacket. So let's load up a mag. Feels like the Remington UMC is the lightest. Oh yeah, there's only 5 cartridges in here. So this is a 17 round mag. I think there are 10 round mags for states that don't allow anything higher than that. There are several variations of this carbine for various different states. This one has a threaded muzzle, which is nice. I've been thinking about maybe buying a suppressor, and it's got the 16.5 or 16.25 inch barrel. It did come with high cap magazines. There are some that come without a threaded muzzle and 10 round magazines. If you live up in Canada, I think you get an 18.5 inch barrel. I don't know what the story is with threaded barrels and magazine limits up there, but I know that the barrel is longer for the Canadian version. So anyway, let's lock the bolt back, remove our chamber flag, and this is it. This is the virgin shot. Keep your fingers crossed. We'll see how we do. Hopefully the scope is close enough that we'll be able to see what we're shooting at 100 yards. Now obviously this isn't going to have much recoil, but a lot of people have said that they're surprised by the amount of recoil that there is. There is a tungsten dead blow weight inside this bolt, which somehow saves the receiver, but it seems to impart more recoil to the shooter's shoulder. I don't really understand the physics of that, but I'm interested to see how this feels when we shoot it. Basically zero recoil. I don't know what people are talking about. Of course, I'm shooting off of a rest and a bag, but I didn't hardly notice that recoil at all. Incidentally, I don't know if I mentioned, but this is a Nico Sterling 1.5 to 5 power by 20 millimeter Target Master scope with a 1/2 mil dot reticle, and it's a pretty nice scope. It has a very, very tight eye box though. That was 5 shots. And I did not bring my spotting scope, so I got to take a walk down and see what I hit. So, this scope has 1/4 minute of angle clicks. That's 4 clicks per inch, approximately. So I've got to go, yes, 28 clicks to the right. All right. We'll load up another mag and see how we do. Of course, I'm changing ammo, so this might screw everything up. We'll go with these Spear Lawmans. Lawmen. And so far, I mean, that's only 5 shots, but perfect reliability so far. All right. Here we go. Nice clean break to the trigger. I haven't put a scale on this, but I'm going to guess about 5 pounds. All right, we're clear again. Time to take another stroll. All right, so that was a little less straightforward than I had hoped. I've had to make a bunch of adjustments to the scope, but hopefully now we should be on. So I'm going to fire 5 more rounds at 100 yards, see what kind of group we get. And if we're pretty much there, then we'll move on out to steel. Actually, first of all, I want to check the tightness of this barrel nut. So, the gun is clear, nothing in the mag. Well, the magazine is loaded, but it's over there. Feels like there might be a tiny bit of rock there. So we'll tighten up the barrel nut, the barrel tension nut, 1 click. Okay. Yeah, that feels a little bit tighter. But not too much tension. You don't want to get that where it's really hard to turn in. You just want to feel a little bit of resistance. All right, let us now attempt our last 5-shot group at paper. We should be just about right on. All right, one last stroll, hopefully. Not quite. "30 clicks up." I knew that elementary school math would come in handy someday. Oh yeah, I can see it now. Oh, our first functionality problem. We're, what, 30 rounds in? Failure to feed. I can tell from here we are in the zone. And that's a good thing because we're getting low on bullets to shoot at steel. And yes, I mean bullets, not cartridges. The bullets go to the steel. One more stroll. Okay, so I had a 2-inch group, 1.25 inches to the right. So I'm going to make one last windage adjustment. I'm not showing you the target either. I'm using a target that somebody else was using probably yesterday. And that, my most recent group is right on top of a 223 group from an AR-15 probably. So I'm just going to adjust. We're 1.25 inches right still. And there's absolutely no wind out here. You can see the weeds. It's dead calm. So I'm simply going to go 5 clicks to the left. Oh, I have it locked down already. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll lock that back down. This one's locked. I will reset the 0 on these turrets when I get home. You can actually do it by hand, and I could do it here, but I'm not going to mess with that now. So now we're going to get to the fun part. I still have a half a box of reloads here. So I'll move the camera around back, and we'll see if I can hit some steel targets. We'll see how far out we can reach. I'm kind of running low on time, and I want to do another video, so let's get to it. Okay, so my phone is telling me I've got a low battery situation. So we're going to do this shooting quick. We're going to start at 120 with 5 rounds. And I may have to do the wrap up later. We'll start at 120. This should be no problem because I think I'm right in there. All right, 120 steel all the way on the left. A little high, okay. There we go. Let's try that again. 2 out of 5 is not very good at 120, especially when I had a 2-inch group. Of course, I've just switched over ammo. I don't know what these hand loads are. I know my dad made them up. I also know they're probably pushing 30 years old, so maybe that's my problem. Still at 120 all the way on the right. There we go. Another failure to feed. high left. There we go. There we go. High right. All right. Well, I think we're going to call it quits on this rifle for now. I've got it basically dialed in, but apparently I've got some more work to do. So let's wrap it up and I'll start on the next one. So I wouldn't exactly call that range trip an unqualified success. First of all, I neglected to have a sufficient charge on my phone before I started filming. So I started running out of battery life. Second of all, it took an unusually long amount of time to get the rifle on paper, let alone sighted in. And of course, this is always a risk you run with a new rifle and a new scope, but today was particularly frustrating. Then when I did get it sighted in and I produced a 2-inch group at 100 yards, I then proceeded to start shooting at 120 yards steel, and I think out of 10 rounds I hit 4 times, which you shouldn't be hitting a 12-inch gong at 100 yards 4 times if you're shooting 2-inch groups at 100 yards. Well, steel's at 120. So obviously there's something going on there. I may have to adjust that barrel nut again. The truth is, this is a brand new rifle, and it's a blowback semi-automatic, and there are adjustments on it. There are things that need to wear in. I guess we can chalk all of this up to break-in type hiccups. So I guess all of that is kind of to be expected. The thing that's really disconcerting to me is that I had 2 failures to feed, 2 functional failures in something like 30 rounds. That's pretty high, even for a brand new gun. Again, it's a blowback semi-auto, and if this was 30 years ago and it was a brand new camp carbine from Marlin, I would just chalk it up to, yeah, that's the nature of blowback semi-autos, and they need to break in and everything else. But that's not what I've been reading about the Ruger PC Carbine. Not to say that people haven't experienced functional problems. There are records of that. But with today's manufacturing standards, the precision that goes into CNC machining and everything else, it's a little bit more unexpected to have that many failures to function in such a short shooting experience. But I am willing to chalk it up to break-in. It's a new gun, and I was shooting some hand loads, and I was shooting a mixture of factory loads, so we'll have to see how it goes going forward. Anyway, I cut this thing short. I'm going to get it edited and get it posted up. I'll try to take a couple more vacation hours on another weekday soon and produce a couple of other videos. I don't think I'll run into quite the same number of problems that we had today with this. So anyway, I hope to catch each of you on the next one. Later, guys.